Hello, my Pisces friends. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today with your October 2024 monthly horoscope. These horoscopes are based on whole sign Western astrology. So when I'm talking about Pisces, I'm referring to Pisces rising as the first house and dictating the landscape of the chart. This is also applicable to Pisces sun, Pisces moon. And if you have 3 or more personal planets in the sign of Pisces, this video is applicable for you as well. When I refer to a day and a time, it's based on the Pacific time zone, so please adjust for your location. The month starts off with a solar eclipse in your 8th house of transformation, of other people's money, of taxes and inheritance. That's the sign of Libra. We also have Jupiter going retrograde in your 4th house of home and family. And then we have Pluto going direct for the last time in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So let's look at the chart and talk about what's going on. All right. So I'm starting with the eclipse on the 2nd. We see that the sun and the moon have come here together in the darkest phase of the moon. Again, Libra is your 8th house of transformation. It's a financial house. It's a house that holds a deep psychological imprint. It's a house where we see power and control. Now we overlay the Libra energy of balance and harmony and peace and cooperation and partnership. So here we see we're planting the seeds in the dark of night for our intentions moving forward in all these areas. We also see that this new moon is conjunct Mercury. So a lot of what we will be involved here will be things that are mercurial, how I think, how I speak, how I interact with my workmates, my teammates, my neighborhood, my siblings, my cousins. There could very well be also an opportunity here for my Pisces to experience something that feels initially. Let me back this up a second. We just had a full moon partial lunar eclipse. And the full moon is the release, the culmination of a cycle. The south node being conjunct this new moon could bring an awareness of whatever culmination happened during the lunar eclipse and offers you an opportunity to plant the seeds for something new, something more aligned to what makes you feel powerful, feel like a co-creator in your life. We see that not only is this new moon eclipse at 10 degrees. We also see Mercury at 11 degrees. We see Venus, who's not in a conversation with the eclipse, at 11 degrees. We see Pluto at 29 degrees, which reduces down to an 11. And we see Neptune at 28 degrees, which reduces down to a 10. This series of ones tells me that Spirit is very much saying that my thoughts are manifesting very quickly, and be mindful of that which you think. Now we see that this eclipse is in a challenge to Mars in your 5th house of romance, of personal pleasures, entertainment, hobbies, of your own personal self-expression. So you may have inadvertently feel a challenge with Mars is not in its greatest energy in Cancer. It's in fall. It's where Mars has to slow down and swim through the emotional body and be aware of other people's feelings. Now, Pisces, you're extremely compassionate. You're extremely aware of other people's feelings, and that might bring conflict for you. Having the 5th house, you may be feeling a sense of during this moon, you may be more aware of the things that feel spiky in your 5th house than the things that have felt soft and warm. And this is giving you an opportunity to plant the seeds for the soft and warm experiences. The Mars energy is also in a trine with Saturn and in a trine with Venus. Scorpio is your ninth house of beliefs. Pisces is your first house. So this is giving you an opportunity to be brave. This is a nice trine in the water signs with what you know emotionally and intuitively, and to start to build a stronger structure, not based on your history, but on your intuitive knowing. The challenging thing with Pisces is sometimes it can feel invisible. You can feel as if you're not seen or you're not important enough. The 12th house is the house that is most connected to our soul, our soul's ancestral history. And so with Saturn transiting your first house, it could inadvertently bring you a feeling of a dry feeling, a repressed feeling, a feeling that old history is repeating itself in some way. And yet spirit is tasking you to be brave, even if it's not comfortable for you, about asserting your personal pleasures, what you want in the way of romance, what you want in the way of interaction with others that brings joy and fun. And this square could inadvertently be kicking in lack, or what has been in lack. And spirit is saying, move forward, look to the future. With that Scorpio ninth energy, it's connecting to the divine. It's connecting, the ninth house rules the connection to the angelic realm. You rule the soul's ancestral history. And of course, Cancer is a very intuitive, nurturing sign. So this is about being brave versus going too much into that material house of Libra, where there's an exchange of material human energy. And now they're tasking you with an exchange of spiritual energy in order to plant the seeds for your next manifestation. And you won't be able to see how that's playing out just yet, because here we see that Uranus is in a square and a half to this eclipse, and that Taurus energy is your third house of your thoughts, how you think, and that's echoing back that there's a tense moment here where the sun literally combusts any planet it's close to. So while we're in this dark phase of the moon, my mind will not be able to see clearly what normally the sun would illuminate. So I'm planting for the future Uranus that my thoughts will align to what I want versus what I've experienced. I hope that makes sense. Now let's go to the 9th, where we will see Jupiter go retrograde in your fourth house of home. Now Jupiter is going to transit through this house for about a year. And this is going to be a review of your philosophies, your ideologies, and even potentially your resources, money, and wealth, and if you're allowing for expansion. And the reason I say allowing for expansion is because with the Pisces energy, sometimes there can be this feeling of things feeling blurry, feeling unclear. And I think that it's so important for Pisces to understand that you see best with your eyes closed and you feel with your heart. You're so incredibly creative. So there could be a revisit of issues with strong religious dynamics within the home. There could be even education could come up for you, and a feeling of maybe reviewing to see if going into a higher realm of education would facilitate bringing more resources into the home. And I want to offer this because it will also revisit things you've already looked at. So there could be an opportunity to kind of integrate those big ideas with practical application in the material world. That's the way I want to put it. I think the trine to Mercury here is supporting that. It is making a trine also to the sun, but this is a tighter trine. So there's a marrying of details and broad thoughts. Not always easy, but at the same time, it's probably the most effective way to actually implement something and get it done. All right, now we see that Jupiter will be retrograde from 21 degrees back to 11 degrees of Gemini. And once it gets to 11 degrees Gemini, it's going to station there for a while. Again, emphasizing that my thoughts are things and that my thoughts are moving me into my future. They're literally the pavers that I will walk upon towards the house of my new thoughts. And so the retrograde will will take place until February 4th, 2025, and then Jupiter will move forward again. So there's the technical dates. On the 11th, we will see Pluto go direct. And, again, I'm into these numbers, and I see Pluto is stationing at 29 degrees, 38 minutes. 29 reduces down to an 11. The 38 reduces down to an 11. Again, this is your 11th house, Capricorn, of your hopes, your desires, your wishes, your dreams, and also your social interactions, your social groups, the people that you interact with on the World Wide Web. So you could see yourself really as now, technically at this time, I need to go later in the day to see that Pluto's gone direct. Let me fix that. I think 6 p.m. will do. Yes, but we still see 29 degrees, 38 minutes. Again, I want to emphasize that this is Pluto's stationing at this degree is really, again, emphasizing that deep psychological imprint, how people have power and control over me, anywhere where I potentially see authority or, something that feels bigger than me that I release my power to. When I first got on the internet, I was on a woman's channel who had like 250,000 followers. And without realizing it, I looked at her as an authority over me when really all she was doing was presenting an opportunity for me. So again, I'm emphasizing that Capricorn is your 11th house, that there's a revisit of some kind, potentially with your social groups and with how you interact with them. And there could be very much a removal of false authorities or false leaders. That's the way I guess I want to put it. Sounds interesting to say it that way, but that's how it's coming across. Okay, now we're going to go to the 13th, where Mercury will enter Scorpio. Scorpio is your 9th house of beliefs. And as Mercury enters Scorpio, I'm going to go actually to the next day. Okay, we go a little later in the day. I'll try 9 p.m. And we see that Mercury is at 2 degrees of Scorpio. This is very significant because, again, Scorpio is your 9th house of beliefs, of connection to the angelic realm, your ability to talk and to communicate with your guides, your angels, and those that you can't see in the material. But that 2nd degree of Scorpio, and anything within 5 to 12 degrees of it, is any personal planets, is indicating where we are releasing false attachments. So with Mercury, we're seeing ourselves releasing false attachments to our thoughts, to our things, to our childhood experience, to any discord with siblings, cousins, people in our community. Every year, pretty much, Mercury, Venus, and the Sun go over these points in the Shapley attractor or the Shapley cluster that give us opportunities to connect with the divinity within and to use the universe as a tool of co-creation. So as we are illuminated into those dynamics that we are connected to but don't serve us, then we can allow them and surrender to their removal. And this is very much evidenced by, Mercury's square to Pluto. Mercury's been in a square to Pluto as it's been approaching that Shapley attractor, illuminating, because Pluto rules Scorpio, any toxic energies that are tethering me and disempowering me and holding me small. So this is really important and powerful. Now we go to the 17th at 4:26 a.m. And I think I've told every sign it's my birthday, my solar return, and we have a full moon. So I think that's pretty cool. And this is where we're going to see, here's our full moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron. So the full moon is the phase of the moon where the moon reflects the sun's light. And I think here what we're seeing, because the sun is on the fixed star Spica, and that is, again, the voice of angels. It's a very fortuitous point. So the moon is reflecting the sun's light, the angel's light on your individuality. Aries is your second house, which rules your skills, your self-worth, your ability to make money through your creativity, through your compassion, through your healing energies, through your intuitiveness. So I believe this full moon is going to illuminate anywhere you've held yourself small, anywhere that you've clipped your own pioneering spirit into your, I want to say it this way, anywhere Pisces has held themselves back from being a strong co-creator within their own life, using their skills, their talents, their imagination. This full moon will illuminate that and give you an opportunity to stretch into new dynamics, to new energies. We're going to see a little later in the day that Venus is going to move into Sagittarius, where the planet of that naturally rules the second house, again, the voice, the skills, will start to feel her mojo. She'll start to feel a sense of broadening and a sense of inspiration, passion, a willingness to move in a new direction. Sagittarius is your 10th house, and that's a house that's not only a house of leadership and of career ambitions, but a house that also holds your public reputation and status. So Venus is giving you an opportunity, and when she moves into this house, to again broaden the use of your skills and your voice, and to allow yourself to dig into potentially a money-making endeavor through that bravery. So this full moon could illuminate that path, but it will not be an easy one because there are tense aspects. We see that this moon makes a square to Mars. Mars is making a square to the sun, and this is forming a T-square with Mars as the focal point. Cancer being your 5th house of creation, you're going to have to be brave in sticking your neck out. And sometimes Pisces doesn't like to do that. They want to go back into their bedroom and to be alone when they're creating and expressing themselves. They can feel a little shy. And this is even further exasperated by the sun and the moon making a T-square to Pluto in Capricorn, in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So this is a challenging dynamic because both, as the month progresses, Mars is going to go into a tighter opposition with Pluto. And these two planets are literally fighting each other. They're pushing and pulling on each other because Pluto is wanting to remove any of the toxic waste that is remaining. And Mars is like, I don't really want to deal with any of these emotional dynamics. I'm not into it. I don't want to feel scared. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel frustrated. And yet sometimes frustration is the very inspiration that moves us in a new direction. And sometimes with Pisces, you can actually inadvertently need something to move you because you're so willing to take a back seat. And I don't mean a back seat. I mean, you rule the house of the invisible, the house of self-undoing, the house of escape. And yet you rule the house of spirituality, the house of songwriting and lyrics and ballet and dance, so that it's very polarizing. And so this full moon is illuminating whether you're cooperating with your own soul's intention and your own talents and skills. It's really very powerful. Okay, pardon me while I lick and turn my page. Venus is going to move into Sagittarius later in the day, but I'm going to move over to the 22nd now. Whoops. And we're going to see the sun enter Scorpio. I've got to get later in the day. Let's go to 1 p.m. Okay. So now we see that the sun, is still in Libra. Let's try 9 p.m. There we go. All right, the sun is now entered Scorpio. And again, Scorpio is your ninth house of beliefs, and it's going to go on to that Shapley attractor, where now we're going to be releasing any false attachments to our ego, to how other people see us shine our light in the world. And I say this because when one is birthing something they created, oftentimes it's a mixed bag. There will be people who respond, and then there will be people who do not respond. And if you stop yourself because of the non-responders, then you are actually robbing of the responders of your talents. And I think that's where the square, the T-square between Pluto, the Sun, and Mars is becoming most obvious, because there's a frustration building, and it's a frustration because you're having to bet on yourself from the inside out, Pisces. You're not getting that outside validation just yet. But as Venus moves further and further into your Sagittarian energy, she's going to get on that great attractor, and you're going to start getting an opportunity to attract the resources that you need while being mindful of the things that are transiting your first house, meaning Saturn is transiting your first house, asking you to be very diligent and enduring through the hard times, through the times when you can't see, the manifestation. You can't see your numbers growing. You can't see the dollars going in the bank. You can't see the lover coming towards you. You can't see the resources for your birthing, your creative passions. And yet at the same time, you can feel them wanting to be birthed. It's like you're in contractions, labor contractions, and Pluto and Mars are accentuating that frustration a bit. Now we go to the 25th, and we see that Venus is going to be in a square, a growing square with Saturn. And let me just go a day or two later, because I'd like to get her on the attractor, great attractor. I'll put her here because now we have an exact square. The great attractor is at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. Anything within 5 to 10 degrees on your natal chart of that point is influential. The tighter the orb, the more influential. So if you have Mercury on 12, 13, 14 degrees of Sagittarius, you very much have an ability to communicate with the universe and draw in the resources you need. The square here is that tense moment, that tension between, having to literally sit down and practice your spiritual beliefs, do those meditations, do those vision boards, do those affirmations, and call forth the universe to bring those experiences into your physical experience so that you can anchor them in. Because that square is this tension between feeling one way, being afraid, being, conscious of your doubts and your fears and the things that repress you, and then Venus wanting to be receptive and attract the dynamics to her and start to rewrite a new story. And we see that by the time we get to the 30th, we've got just a really tense dynamic between Mars and Pluto. They are literally pushing and pulling each other, wanting to take action, not take action, wanting to recognize something and wanting to run away from it at the same time. Again, this is really emphasizing Pisces creativity. Yes, the fifth house is romance, but for some reason, with the combination of our first, fifth, and ninth house being lit up during this month, this is about your belief within yourself to manifest that deep soul's yearning. And creativity is not just the arts. Creativity goes in all dynamics of the human experience, from how you create your money, to how you create your relationships, to how you create your self-confidence, to how you create your everyday activities. So being really intentional during this time, making a concentrated effort to practice on a daily basis your affirmations, affirming that which you desire, and inviting it in will be so powerful for you, Pisces, moving forward. because as Neptune transits into your second house, your creativity could be the very thing that allows you to make a lot of money, and individualizing that creativity and being brave as Aries energy requires. Okay, that's it for me for October 2024. I will be back next month. Let me stop my share so I can properly say goodbye. I will be back with your November 2024 monthly horoscope. And if you'd like to join me on Sundays, I do a live broadcast where we do an intuitive reading and get the angels' advice for traversing the transits ahead. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below in the description. And please like, please subscribe, and please share. And I'll see you in November. Take care, Pisces. Bye-bye. See you soon.